So today I want to speak about what it is to be you, and if you're feeling rejected, how to manage that, and also why should you change from being the individual person that you are. I'll see you after this intro.
Like you for. Boy, just be yourself. If people don't like you if you're being yourself, fuck them. Let me tell you something. I used to go with a girl when I was about your age. I tried to please her Peppy all the time. Went out my way to please her Peppy. I come in one day, I said, nice weather we have. Said, you can't say that. You can't say that, it might rain. I said, nice tie you got on. Said, you can't say that. My wife tried to choke me with it. Point I'm trying to tell you, son, is be yourself. People don't like how you be yourself, fuck them. Fuck them up against the wall, wear handcuffs on them, and crazy through on their lips. That's all you do.
So welcome back. My name's M. I'm from Karnak Holistics, where we learn together and we grow together in the sight of God. So now, wasn't that cool? That was Bernie Mac from House Party 3, where he speaks about how people don't accept you, how he would handle it, which kind of has some kind of reference to some truth there, don't you think? So what would we do? If people don't accept you for the way you are, do we try and mold ourselves to be that person that they want to be? Do we live that fake life? Do we live in that prison of unreality? Do we live in a vortex that is defined by people that probably don't even know you, but people who may be in your circle, but they're just not giving you that kind of support and understanding that you are looking for? Now, there's nothing wrong if you're addressing this. Now, there's nothing wrong if you're thinking this way, or that you feel that you are not being listened to or you're not being valued. It's important part that you are valued, because we all have a decency, and we all have a sense of need and a sense of self-worth. So don't ever feel that you are left out. And if you want to address these situations or these feelings that you are facing, please go ahead and do it, because at the end of the day, you're feeling them for a reason. Now, the reality is like what's been going on is that when you get certain people that you may be a part of a group or part of a family, part of a large family, and they go and huddle to themselves, and then they don't necessarily think about you straight away to do certain individual things, and you have to be the one that is trying to make those changes, or you're the one who's trying to initiate for your union to get together, but you don't seem to feel that you are necessarily valued as an individual. There's nothing wrong with you kind of feeling that way. There's a reason. One or two things you can do. You can bring it up and speak to them. If it continues, then obviously you need to take it to the next level. The second thing is, if you are just not sure whether it's just you or just you're being, I don't know, a bit, you're just getting a bit of a drama, or you're being a bit of a drama queen. No, obviously you're feeling this way for a reason. It's self-evident. So the other thing as well, if you are around certain people and all they seem to do is, when you meet them, is talk about themselves, their issues. They just focus upon what's going on in their lives, and you're feeling like, okay, well, I've heard your stuff, and then you're trying to communicate back, and you're saying what's going on for you, and in some ways it may be beneficial and really, really important, but you're just feeling that they've kind of switched off. How do you handle that? You can do two things. You can determine and ignore it and carry on speaking, and then you can just flip back to them and let them speak, or you can turn around and pull them up on it and say, listen, I clearly don't feel that you're listening to me, but I'm here to support you as I want you to support me. Now, for me, I feel it's important that you do tell people how you're feeling. especially if all they do is seem to just be talking about their wants, their needs, and just really draining you, almost kind of like psychic vampires. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people who have issues or struggling that need you and need your support. That's a different kettle of fish. You know what I'm talking. You know about the people I'm talking about. You know these people that all they seem to do is have a goal, and that goal is them. There's also the other point as well, is that there are people where you in yourself don't feel that you are not kind of like valued. So you may be, everyone's going out doing their different things, and then you're like last on their list. For me, I would just turn around, and as I'm beginning to do, is start to mold my life differently, because eventually what happens is that they will come seeking you out for their support or your support. And the problem is here is that what do you do when that happens? So someone really upsets you and puts you in a bad way and makes you feel a certain way, and you know that these people have been taking advantage, or kind of like you not being on their list of being important to them and showing you that value. That what do you do in that scenario? Do you just ignore it? Do you just leave it down for change? Do you just walk away? Do you challenge it? You know, I've seen so many times, even with me, I've left it and thinking, oh, okay, well, they've got more things going on, so they're not really, there's no use me adding to the mix, or I'll just see it through to the end, and so on, and see it to the end for them to finish what they need to say. Let me give you a bit of advice about this situation. And again, I only speak from what I see, hear, and understand. And the fact is that people don't like to be shown the mirror of themselves. So when these people are talking and then you say, you know what, I don't feel that you're listening to what I'm saying, or I don't feel that you are not contacting me enough, or that I'm not seeing you enough, or that we're not hanging out enough, or you may feel that they're putting other people in front of you when you've had a really good relationship with them. And I've had this over years, and I think so many people must have had this when they've been in some school, and then they move to a new school, and then you've been tight with somebody for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and then they move to a new school, meet new people, but then they decide to kind of like ice you out, and then you're like, well, what have I done? You haven't changed. They've moved to a new place. Simple as people change, you know, people move on, people find new people grow and change. The important thing is that it's a testament to your relationship as a friendship, or your friendship. So if it's as you grow and then you meet these people, go on and meet different people, or you go on and meet different people, it's down to you to realize whether these people that grew up with you or being with you or being a part of you are that important, because remember, they were there as you were growing. And there's also where you've gone and you made a success of your life, and you may be living in a community that you don't feel reflects who you are now. I'm not saying you come out of the inner city, you've gone into a nice area, so you may come from like the slums or wherever, or council estate, and you're like living in somewhere really nice in a well-known affluent area, and then you don't want to mix with those types of people anymore. Now, that is a different kettle of fish. And I think with that, this is really important that we need to look at, because as you're growing, it depends how these people from the past are with you. Because if they are loving and they care about you and they respect who you are, they will allow you to grow. They will be with you to see you through to the end. Then you've got the others where you've grown and there's jealousy kicks in. My mum always used to say that people change, people grow, and people move on. But give them time. If they don't change, it's time for you to find a new place. Most importantly, always seek God's help. Because for me, it's like over my lifetimes, and I've been on the planet almost half a century, it's I've seen things come and go, and I've given my all to certain people, and as part of my growth and their growth, I've given them my all and my guidance, my love, and the rest of it. But then they just wander off and just forget about it, and even don't even have contact with you, right? But the reality is like as Bernie Mac says, fuck them, you know, just move on. Just move on, because these people, if they don't celebrate your goodness, and when you, for example, you've got a good job, you've moved on, or you found the love of your life, and you want to start having children, and they can't even celebrate that with you, they're not even worth knowing. You know, they should see you and understand what you're about, because they know what you've been through. You know, they know that what your struggle was from A to B to C to D. And if they can't value you when you've arrived at E, then you know what, they're not even worth knowing, because I can guarantee you on the flip side to that, that will backfire on you as well. And the only thing I can honestly say is, like, as long as you do things with an open heart and you're compassionate about it, and you leave courteous and you're generally nice to people, I can't see why people will be discouraged or be disrespectful to you. But again, they are negative and two-faced people, and these people you can't necessarily change. And if you're trying to change these people, you need to look at yourself. Why are you trying to change them? Maybe it's an aspect of you that needs to change, because that person is like that for a reason. That person is obviously been influenced in their lives to be this manifestation as they are right now, like you are as you are now. And if they've changed and they've remained a certain way, and you can't understand why they are doing what they're doing, that's their prerogative. It's down to you to try and move on, and for you to shine, and for you to grow. I used to go to London, and I like to go to London because if there's a challenging time and I need to get things processed, I'll go to the South Bank and I'll sit by the river. There's a spot I would only sit, and I would just contemplate. And that part, or that bench, helped me through a lot of my dark times. 10 years in, I will be going there when I have bad times. So thank God I'll be found on that bench. And for me to say for them to move it, I can kind of get it, but I think there's an element of like it having an identity. So when the mayor introduced the £15 charge to get into London, you're thinking, on top of my challenge of that I may be facing, for me to have some kind of out time or downtime, I have to pay more money to get to London, or to put petrol in the car, plane pay for the charge. But that's if you're driving. But so I can kind of see where they're coming from, but I also can kind of see like, well, you should have moved on anyway. But it's not like I go there and I sit there every day. I go there probably once a year or once every 2 years, if anything. But there's also other people where they are stuck and they are trying to mentally keep you in a state of numbness, and because they are numb within themselves, because they don't know any better. So when you are trying to grow and these people are stuck and they're constantly referring back to what you don't do, what you've been doing, and the lack of the things you should be doing for them, you notice the pattern, what you should be doing and about them and you're not doing, and it's about projection. And in that sense is that I don't bother. I really don't bother. I don't have time for energy drainers. I do not have the time. I do not have the time as well in my emotional psyche. And I've been listening to a book called The Rebel Buddha. It's really good. I'll link it below. which talks about you can be enlightened but also not take the crap from people. And I think people seem to think when you become enlightened, or when you're trying to find or become some kind of Buddhist, that you become like a doormat, and that's quite not what it is. There's a sense of self-worth in becoming enlightened. There's a self-worth of being in a space or being with people that are like you. It doesn't mean that you are ignoring everybody else. It means that you're going on a journey, like we all are going on a journey. I know some people who have moved abroad. I've known so many people that have moved to different parts of London or different parts of England because their journey has just brought them there, whether it's through work, marriage, family, whatever. You know, it's not their fault, you know, it's just life. Life happens. And I think when you're stuck in a certain, I think it's called a parapet, you're stuck in this kind of vortex of existence because that's all you know, and it's uncomfortable to move. That's fine. If that's the way you want to live, that's the way you want to live. But it's when you start infringing on other people who want to go on, but you're just trying to pull them back and not allowing them to grow. That is wrong. Like, I would never turn around and say to that person who wants to stay in their little way of life and that type of world that it's wrong. You know, it's not for me. I think I can't even imagine being somewhere, I mean, I suppose, in the same job for over 10 years. It's just something I couldn't do. I would move around and do different things within the same organisation, but I couldn't imagine doing the skins of the same building day in day out. But that's just some people. But that's just me. And I'm saying it's wrong and right. People are different, but I'm just saying when people choose not to be that way, you shouldn't turn around and try and control them. And the person who is trying to change or who is on a journey, they shouldn't try and put you down, like people who go to the pub after work, and if other people that would want to go with at a weekend to a meditation retreat. And I've seen it. I mean, even with me, when I used to work in corporate, I would like long for the weekend, and it'll be like once a month I will go away to retreat, and they used to call me strange because I used to do this, but yet they used to go off to a pub every day, and then at the weekend they would go to, I don't know, a Harvester to have or they go to a pub to have their Sunday dinner. And I'm like thinking, hold on, I goes like, I'm not criticizing you, I'm going away to advance my spiritual self, my mental self, and myself in me. But I don't turn around and knock you going to a pub to have food. That's what you do every weekend and every day after work. So that was their prerogative. And again, I said, it's people have different perceptions. My final point I want to talk about is for the fact is that when you're not accepted or that you're always last on their list. It's not for the fact is that you plan to do something and you have a weekend or a day after work or whatever, and then you don't necessarily have that communication, or you forget and you just sort stuff. It's for the fact is that you're not thinking about certain people. It's the fact that you don't acknowledge that the relevance of certain people. I've got to a point is where I no longer are going to let that now fester within me and pull me down, because it makes my health get worse, and I don't want that. But the reality is like when shit goes wrong, and when someone passes away, and they go, "Did you go to the blah blah?" I goes, "Well, why would I go to the person's funeral when I don't even know them? You know, why would I go to a distant relative?" I go, I'll pay my respects, don't get me wrong, I'll pay my respects in whatever way, but I won't necessarily try and go out my way to go, because it's like, I don't know, I won't expect people who don't know me, who've only seen me once in their lifetime, to come to my funeral. It just won't make sense, you know. For me, it's like, pay your respects, don't get me wrong. But hey, I might be wrong, but that's just how I feel. I just feel like if I'm going to go and see, so especially if I fallen out with somebody, or that person falling out with me, and again, I've got this rift going on because they don't see, for whatever reason, don't see things the way I do, and we are no longer talking, and you've gone off and done your own thing. Why is it so imperative, because of whoever I am, to show face? You know, no. I don't know, that's just me. But I'm not going to apologize for it. It's just what it is. And then they say, well, why don't you go? Well, why don't you tell me about it? You know, no one's mentioned nothing. And expecting you to go and know in order to make these things change. And the reality is that why should you play your fiddle to somebody else's tune when their tune is not in line with your actual tune which you're trying to achieve? Now, again, this is all about me experimenting and learning and growing and learning to understand, and back and forth talking to the Almighty about stuff, and really reflecting with my fiance about it and saying, like, look, this is how I'm seeing it. And it's even, and on the other cast, I want to say is, I know I said about people, it sounds kind of dark, what I've been speaking about, who are not there, but there are people who are there. Like, the picture you see now is like, I was in hospital and I was internally bleeding for probably about 3 weeks. And my fiance was there day in, day out. And ended there, and stay safe, stay blessed, keep shining. You're doing okay. And I'll catch you in the next video. And namaste.